بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين المصطفى أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا غريب كربلاء. رزقنا الله في الدنيا زيارتكم وشفاعتكم في الدنيا والآخرة. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وقرآنه الحميد وقوله الحق: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أولئك هم خير البرية. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Interpreters of the Quran, Shia and Sunni, several Sunni scholars, including Ad-Durr al-Manthur by Suyuti, state that when this ayah was revealed, ayah number 7 of Surah Al-Bayyinah, in the last juz of the Holy Quran, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمْ خَيْرُ الْبَرِيَّةِ. Surely those who believe and do good deeds are the best of the creation. Muslims were intrigued. So they came to the Prophet ﷺ and asked, Ya Rasulullah, who are those people who believe and do good deeds and they are the best, so that we can aspire to be amongst them? Inshallah, we can also be among the best. Interpreters of the Quran say that the Prophet ﷺ pointed at Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam and said, Hada wa shi'atuh, him and his Shia, they are the best of the creation. They are those who believed and performed good deeds. This is important. When Shi'is and Sunnis narrate this riwayah, and for those of you who are interested in a lot of sources about this riwayah or references, refer to Tafsir al-Burhan by Sayyid Hashim al-Bahrani. In it, he lists a whole bunch of references for you about this riwayah, about this tafsir. The importance of this, the significance of this, when the Prophet ﷺ points at Ali and says him and his Shia, it means who established the term Shia? Are you with me, guys? Are you awake? I asked a question. Who established the term Shia? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam established the term Shia. Him and his Shia. Shi'i in the literal sense means follower. وَإِنَّ مِن شِيعَتِهِ لَإِبْرَاهِيمَ in the Quran. And among his Shia, يعني the Shia of Nuh, among the followers of Nuh is Ibrahim alayhi wa ala nabiyyina wa alihi salam. Even though, and this is also important because Ibrahim did not live at the same time of Nuh alayhi salam. They were not at the same time, in the same era. Ibrahim came later. He's of the descendants of Nuh. But when the Quran says that he follows the example of Nuh, yani he is following the same teachings as Nuh. And therefore he is of the Shia of Nuh. He's the follower of Nuh. This means if we follow the example of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, we are the Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Now, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam established that term Shia, him and his Shia, to the point where, interestingly, a contemporary scholar, her name is Maria Dakake, D-A-K-A-K-E. She wrote a book in 2007 titled The Charismatic Community about the Shi'i. In the introduction of the book, she states, she says, Shi'is are not a sect. They are rather an integral part of Islam. This is how Shi'is view themselves. And in fact, that is the reality. This is the reality. When the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam looks at Imam Ali and says him and his Shia are the best of Allah's creation, those who believe and do good deeds, they are the best. And we know that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam does not speak of desire. In huwa illa wahyun yuha. It is but a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning, when the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi says hada wa shi'atuh, it is coming from where? From his own self? Coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through his messenger sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam gave us the title of Shia, followers of Ali. And hence, there were people at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi who were known as Shi'atu Ali. People like Abu Dhar, Salman, Miqdad, Ammar. People used to point at them and say, Ha'ula Shi'atu Ali. These are the Shia of Ali ibn Abi Talib. So therefore, when we say Shi'ism is not just a sect that was established later on, not a group that emerged after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. Rather, it is a group from the heart of Islam, given a title by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi to represent those who follow the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi and the Quran in following Amir al-Mu'mineen wa Imam al-Muttaqeen ويعسوب الدين أسد الله الغالب علي بن أبي طالب اللهم صل على محمد. Therefore, the contributions of this group, interestingly, Dakake also adds in her book, she says the contribution of this group, despite being a minority group in Islam. Shi'is have always been a minority in Islam. But the contribution that we have made as a minority group are significant, huge contributions. and to be able to survive despite all the challenges that the Shia community faced, brothers and sisters. There were times, historians report, one of the historians write, he says at the time of the Abbasids, when they were building their palaces, one of those people who was building the palace for them, one of those, let's say you call them construction workers, he says, they brought me a child who I think was approximately 8 years old, 10 years old boy. They told me, they gave me instructions. This boy, you take him and in the pillar, you build him in the pillar. Wal-'iyadhu billah. Build him in the pillar. Yani when you pour, back then they did not have concrete, but you know these days we have concrete. When you pour the filling, put him inside and pour it on him. I looked at him, this boy was so handsome, 8, 10-year-old boy, he's so handsome. I asked, what is the crime of this child? What did he do that you want me to kill him in such a manner? Wal-'iyadhu billah. They said, huwa Alawi. Alawi means the descendants of Ali ibn Abi Talib. That is his crime. He's one of the children of Hassan and Hussain, alayhim as-salam. That is his crime. He said, so I poured the material, but I left a little hole at the bottom. I could not do this. I mean, this is an innocent boy. Why do they want to kill an innocent child? I just couldn't do it. So he said, I put him in there. I told him, don't say a word. Stay in there. I will come at night and try to rescue you. So at night, this construction worker, this builder comes and he pulls this child out of this hole that he made into the pillar. And then he filled the hole. After he got him out, he filled the hole. Then he told this child, he said, listen, young man, if anyone sees you, you will be killed and I will be killed. So you're gonna have to disappear. Go anywhere, khalas, disappear. A 10-year-old kid, imagine telling a 10-year-old kid, you have to go away, run away. So the child looked at him and said, okay, I will. But I have one favor to ask of you. You've been kind enough not to kill me and to save my life. One favor. He said, what? He said, can you please go and tell my mother lives at so-and-so place. This is where we are from. Tell her that I'm alive, because she thinks I'm dead. So at least tell her the news that I remained alive and I'm gonna go, khalas. She might never ever see me again. Yani imagine, this is how they used to treat the Shia and the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam and the descendants of Ahlul Bayt. If this is how it was, how could this Shi'i group survive? If you think about it, if you think, right now we are seeing in front of our eyes how an entire nation is being annihilated. You see it all over the news. A whole nation is being eradicated. If such eradication, wal-'iyadhu billah, inshallah, does not, but imagine if this continues for 1400 years, what will happen to this community? What will happen to this group of people? And across history, there have been groups of Islam, of Muslims who came to the rise, who rose to the peak. They became scholars. They became a prominent group, but then they disappeared. Amongst them, for example, those of you who are familiar with Islamic history, is a group called the Mu'tazilites, Al-Mu'tazila. The Mu'tazilites, it's a theologian school in the Sunni school of thought. Sunnis are divided into three major groups, theologically speaking. Aqa'id. Their aqa'id is divided into three major groups. Although I think the latter two groups are really similar, but technically there are three groups. One is the Mu'tazilites. Second are the Asha'irites, Al-Asha'ira. And the third is a group that calls themselves the Salaf, the Salafi school. These are the three major theological. Don't get them confused with the schools of jurisprudence. Ahkam. Ahkam is four. Most of you are familiar with this. The Hanafi school, the Hanbali school, the Maliki school, and the Shafi'i school. That's in terms of fiqh, jurisprudence. Theologically, aqa'id, it is these three main divisions. The main difference, the essential difference, the Mu'tazilites, is they believe in what we call free will. Free will. The human has a free will. In the Shia school of thought, we have that as well. We call it adala. Adala. Our usul al-din. Do you guys know usul al-din? In the Shia school, there are 5. Essentially, they're actually really 3. If you really think about it, boil them down, there are only 3. Usul al-din are 3. The first one is what? Tawheed. Tawheed. From Tawheed stems Adala. Adala is just an extension of Tawheed. But because it became such a contentious issue in the second Islamic century, latter first and then second, that it became a distinct root of religion. Otherwise, it's just an extension of Tawheed. The second one is Nubuwah. And the third one is Ma'ad. 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 The third one is Ma'ad, which is the day of resurrection. Imama is an extension of Nubuwah. If you think about it, Imama is just an extension of Nubuwah. But because it became such a contentious issue, in fact, it was the first asl of Usul al-Din that was debated. Who is an Imam? So then it became a separate root by itself. And therefore, in the Shia school of thought, the Usul al-Din became 5. Tawheed, Nubuwah, Ma'ad, and then Adala, and the last one, which is what identifies a Shi'i as a Shi'i, is Imamah. In the Mu'tazili school of thought, they also believe in Adala. The one who established that school of thought, his name is Wasil ibn Atar. He's the founder of the Mu'tazili school of thought. Him and his brother-in-law, Amr ibn Ubaid, both of them, they founded the school of the Mu'tazili school. Interestingly, brothers and sisters, this is for those of you who are interested in such knowledge, Wasil ibn Atar was a student of Abu Hashim. Who is Abu Hashim? He is the son of Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah. Who is Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah? The son of Amir al-Mu'mineen, salamullahi alayhi. Therefore, that influence comes from Amir al-Mu'mineen, alayhi salam. That influence of Wasil, thinking that there is adala and so on and so forth, free will, is tagged back to Amir al-Mu'mineen, from his son Muhammad to his son Abu Hashim to Wasil. Nonetheless, this Mu'tazili school of thought, the Ash'ari school of thought, on the other hand, the Ash'ari, the name is given to Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, who died in the 4th Islamic century, like sometime around 321, give or take. That's when he died. This is the man who established the school. But the school was there beforehand. There were people who have believed this kind of notion. There is no free will. Nonetheless, this is not my discussion tonight. The Mu'tazili school of thought really rose to the peak at the time of Al-Ma'mun al-Abbasi. The Ma'mun, when he was in power, these guys became judges, scholars, and they continued to reign. They have many books, they have many scholars, they have a lot of scientific and scholarly contribution. But after some time, this whole group disappeared. Today, in today's world, you hardly ever find a Mu'tazili scholar. Khalas, they gone. Even though they survived for centuries. So for us Shia to remain alive and to survive after all these years with all the persecution that we have faced, it is something indeed extraordinary. Now, besides the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, obviously there is that. There is a letter written by Al-Imam al-Mahdi ajjalallah ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif to al-Sheikh al-Mufid. You can find that letter in a book called Kitab al-Ihtijaj by Sheikh Tabrasi. That letter is there. He writes to him in the letter, tell our Shia inform our Shia that if it's not for us looking after you and taking care of you, لَاصْطَلَمَتْكُمُ الْأَعْدَاء, يعني they would have taken you from the roots. يعني you guys would not have survived without our care. So despite what we as a Shia community experience in this day and age and all the persecutions that we face, keep in mind that we are there by the barakah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the du'as and the blessings of Al-Imam Al-Mahdi Al-Muntadhar Ajjal Allah ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. So, having said this, what are some of the strategies that Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam used to maintain this Shia identity, to maintain the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam? Here, for the sake of brevity, I will mention a few points that I have collected together in the acronym that I mentioned last night. What is it? SMART. Inshallah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad for you guys. This is for all the smart of you who remembered, mashallah. SMART. This is to help everyone remember. What did Ahlul Bayt do? Let's take a look at them. So this way, hopefully, we can learn what can we do for our generations to maintain this, inshallah, Shia identity. The S in SMART stands for schools. Schools are very important, my dear brothers and my dear sisters. Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam established schools. Whether formal schools like the school of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, where he literally had 4,000 students sitting down in his classes. And by the way, those of you who are interested, there's a alim rahmatullah ta'ala alayh who wrote a series of books, من المهدي إلى اللحد, from the cradle to the grave. Al-Qazwini, Sayyid Al-Qazwini, قدس الله نفسه الزكية, may Allah bless his soul, he passed away a few years ago. He wrote a series of books. When he came to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he passed away. His children took it upon them to write the book, but they changed it into an encyclopedia of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. In that encyclopedia, they documented the names of 4,000 students of the Imam. So we used to hear Imam has 4,000 students, 4,000 students. They actually documented the names down. Now we have their names. So it's really interesting. So when we say 4,000, we mean 4,000. Now, establishing schools, whether formal schools like Al-Imam Al-Sadiq alayhi salam, or informal. Informal means they would gather few individuals and they would teach them, educate them, but rather it is a school. And hence we heard the term Madrasatu Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. The madrasa, the school of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Establishing schools is important. We need schools. They have a big impact on our children. A few years ago, I was approached by several mu'mineen. They said, Sheikh, they just introduced a new curriculum here in the UK. And some of the parents were worried. They said, what are we going to do? I told them, better late than never. Try to establish schools. This should have been accomplished many years ago. I was researching today, in London alone, only in London, there are 76 independent religious schools in London. Only in London. 76 independent religious schools that host approximately 10,000 students. So approximately 10,000 students go to these 76 different schools. So schools are very important. Schools can impact the students and impact what they do and how they do things. For example, in one paper titled Challenges and Opportunities for Muslim Youth, this paper was published back in 2009. in it, among the issues that the authors mention is the following. They say teachers and administrators in public schools often are not informed about Islam, this is back in 2009, or have false preconceptions about the beliefs and lifestyle of Muslim students. The conflicting pressures imposed by the educational environment, as well as by peer groups, put many Muslim youth on a continuum from assimilating into the dominant school culture to completely isolating themselves. So when students attend the schools, they either assimilate with the culture, they become just like the rest of the people because of the pressures, or they completely isolate themselves. There is a whole continuum of this, whole spectrum. So schools play a big role, my dear brothers and sisters. Schools are very important. We need to establish Shia Islamic schools that can train our children the aqa'id, the ahkam, as well as make those schools the top schools in the nation. What's stopping us? Hiring, for example, professional Shia teachers, certified teachers, certified, for example, principals and headmasters. Then you'd work on the educational system and the standard to raise it up, while also infusing it with all the Islamic knowledge. Salat on time, for example. You teach them how to do some ahkam, Quran, Arabic, and so on and so forth. Schools can help educate our children. Did you know one of the companions of Imam Ali alayhi salam is Abu Dhar al-Ghafari? Some of you are familiar with him. During the time of the third Khalifa, Abu Dhar al-Ghafari was sent in an exile to Sham. So he was sent in an exile in Sham. Abu Dhar al-Ghafari in Sham started speaking about Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. He had a student, Abu Dhar had a student in Sham who became a Shia and a good student of his. That student's name was Usama al-Nakha'i al-Shami. So Usama al-Nakha'i al-Shami was a student of Abu Dhar in Sham, became a Shia. Usama in turn then taught another student. His name was Amr al-Maqsus al-Shami. Amr is the student of Usama, who is a student of Abu Dhar. Amr al-Maqsus became the teacher of Muawiyah II, the son of Yazid ibn Muawiyah. And therefore, when Yazid died, or whatever happened to him happened, disappeared, Muawiyah II became the Khalifa. They came to him. He was approximately 18 years of age, give or take. He got up on the minbar and he said, people, my grandfather erroneously fought against Ali ibn Abi Talib. That's my grandfather, Muawiyah. He fought against Imam Ali alayhi salam. And that was wrong, erroneously. He was wrong in what he did. Publicly, on the pulpit. This is coming from the Khalifa. This is a big deal. Then, and he said, my father Yazid did what he did to Al-Hussein, the grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa. He also killed him. And unless Allah forgives both of them, then they don't have a good time in the hereafter. They will not have. This is who they are. These are my grandfather and my father. I do not wish to continue their traditions. Imagine, publicly in Sham to say this. This was a big deal. And therefore he says, I will not continue. I don't take the Khilafah. So he became, the seeds of Tashayyu', reached the court and the house of Yazid ibn Muawiyah through his son, through the school and the educational system. You see, brothers and sisters, schools are very important. Teachers have a big impact on their students. So when he came down from the pulpit, Marwan ibn al-Hakam was there. He said, what did you just do? He said, get out of my face, to his uncle. He said, we've done enough, and you have done enough. Nonetheless, they poisoned him, they got rid of him, so he was gone, he died, and then Marwan became the Khalifa. So then Marwan took the Khilafah. But that's how important schools is. So brothers and sisters, one of the things we need to do to maintain the Shia identity is establishing Shia schools. If you remember, brothers and sisters, those of you who are in your 40s, you might still remember. About 20 years ago, do you remember when France banned the hijab for girls in schools? Do you remember those? Those of you who are younger than 20, you were not even there at the time. But it's just a matter of time before things spread. It's just a matter of time. And now here, we have the new curriculum that's being introduced. And then God knows what comes next. So we need to establish our schools, great, good schools with good educational systems, so that we need to be forward thinkers. We don't wait for the problems to happen and then we react. Let's be people on the go. That's the S. Smart. What comes next? M, mashallah. He's good. This Hussein. Say salawat for Hussein. He deserves it. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Come on, guys. Say a nice salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The M is for majalis. Schools are important. Majalis are also very important. Majalis, such majalis, they remind us of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. They connect us to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. I quoted to you yesterday one quote from a professor at McMaster University regarding the majalis. Same paper. Again, those of you who forgot, Professor Layaqat Takim, although he's a Shia, but this is published in a journal. So it's a peer-reviewed journal titled Shia Rituals and Practices from Routledge Handbook of Islamic Ritual and Practice. In it, he writes the following. He speaks about the majalis, where I mentioned this yesterday, but I will add the following today. He says, the Shia community here, when they have majalis and they do what he refers to as the shabih. You know when they bring tashabih, sometimes they bring like Al-Qasim ibn al-Hasan, sometimes they bring the baby. This shabih, he says, such symbolic and iconic representations of Shi'ism affirm Shi'i space and identity. Yani you want to affirm your Shia identity, you attend these majalis. Think about it. Majlis of Ummul Baneen alayha salam. This great majalis. Who attends them? The Shi'i school. They are the ones who established them. Majalis of the Shahada of As-Sayyidah Fatimah Zahra alayha salam that we just had last week. Who establishes them? Who attends them? The Shi'i school. Majalis of Ashura, Muharram. Usually, in most places in the world, usually, although Ashura, mashallah, has become now a global phenomenon, alhamdulillah. But usually, who attends these majalis? The Shi'is. So the Shi'i school has an identity with the connection of these majalis. Therefore, we need to continuously perform these majalis. These majalis educate us, teach us, connect us to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, connect us to our religion, make us understand a lot of misconceptions. So these majalis are powerful, important, and hence we need to participate in them. Not only just the majalis, interestingly, according to this paper, even the actions like tashabih, for example, the matam that people hold, the matam, the lamentations that the people perform, the latum, these aspects of the majalis really strengthen the Shia identity for people. And if you think about it, again, I go back to the 40-year-olds. May Allah bless you, your 40-year-olds, your eyes. Allah mentions, when he reached 40 years of age, Allah mentions the age of 40 in the Quran. So I have nothing against under 40-year-olds. May Allah bless you. But you guys who are under 40, may Allah bless you. You guys grew up with the iPhones. The over 40-year-olds, they have the blessings of both worlds. They did not grow up with phones. They went to school without having phones. They did not have Google. And they also lived the new technology world. Now they have a lot of phones, so they're experienced with all this. Now, those 40-year-olds, if you remember when you first came to this country and you were quite young, what maintained your religion? These majalis, correct? Your parents took you to these majalis. They made you participate in these majalis. I mentioned this last year, I repeat it again. These great youth who are participating and setting up these majalis, when I came approximately 8 years ago, they had majalis of Fatimiyya. And I saw these youth were a lot younger at the time. And they were, mashallah, setting up the camera, setting up all this. So I told them, where did you guys learn all this? They said, from our parents. Our parents, they used to bring us to the Husainiyya, to the Imam Barga when we were little, and they used to set everything up, so we used to observe. Although they used to play, you see them playing while the parents are setting up, but they're actually observing, they're monitoring, they're seeing. And hence, they're learning, so when they became teenagers, they started taking over, establishing their own majalis. These majalis are very important. Let's not underestimate the Shi'i majalis. Let's propagate them. So majalis are very important. A, smart. What I call academics. The Shi'i school of thought established in every era a group of scholars, academics, who can discuss and propagate the message of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. For example, at the time of Imam Ali alayhi salam, you had Salman, you had Abu Dhar, you had Miqdad. These guys were, mashallah, scholars. If you read again Kitab al-Ihtijaj by Tabrasi, when Abu Bakr took the reins of Khilafah, these people came and each one of them started giving a sermon, a lecture to Abu Bakr about the right of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. He is the rightful Khalifa. Then in every era we find, mashallah, a group of great scholars. At the time of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, several scholars, ulama, who would sit down and discuss. And they were strong. A man comes from Sham to Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. He tells him, I heard that you have a lot of knowledge. When we say a man from Sham, it means he is influenced by the Umayyad propaganda. He came, he considered himself a scholar from Sham. He comes to Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam saying, I heard you know a lot. So I came to discuss with you, to debate with you. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, debate about what? He says, about Arabic language. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam turns to one of his companions. He says, Ya Ubbana bin Taghlub, you get up and you discuss with him about Arabic language. He said, I don't want to discuss with him. I want to discuss with you. He says, you discuss with him. If you can defeat him, it's as if you've defeated me. So Ubban discusses with him and he wins the argument. He then comes back, this Shami, mashallah, determined. He says, well, then I still want to discuss with you. Now about what? He says, now let's discuss about Quran. He says, okay. Ya Himran ibn A'yan. Get up and discuss with him about the Quran. He says, I don't want to discuss with Hamran. He says, again, you defeat him as if you defeated me. He discusses with Hamran. Hamran wins the argument. Comes back again. I still want to discuss with you. Now about what? Fiqh. Ya Zurara, get up. You go, discuss with him. Zurara discusses, wins the argument. Comes back again. Now about what? Imama. Ya Husham ibn al-Hakam. Gets up and Husham wins the argument. Now about what? And he keeps coming back. Several times the man continues coming back at the Imam. I want to discuss, and the Imam introduces one of his companions. Until he is defeated by all of the companions of the Imam. Imam Salamullah alayhi turns to him. Rather, he turns to the Imam. And he looks at him, you've trained your companions really well. He says, the Imam asked him, so how did you find them? He said, they're very good. They're very good. It seems to me you're trying to tell me that you have such a great group of companions. He said, exactly. These are my companions. Look at them. You couldn't even defeat them. You think you can defeat me? These are my students. So then this Shami tells Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, so I want to be one of your students. So now I want to be like them. Imam then Salamullah alayhi turns to Hisham ibn Salim, one of his companions, says, Ya Hisham, you take him and teach him. Khalas. Take care of him. And he becomes a follower of the Imam Salamullahi alayhi. Yani every era, that's why brothers and sisters, sometimes we read about certain people who come up and say, Shi'i ahadith, how do we know that the Shi'i ahadith are authentic? The whole concept of authenticity here. I'm not here to discuss a whole discussion on Shi'i traditions and authenticity, but I'll tell you one thing here. Our Imams alayhimus salam worked diligently, they worked very hard to make sure that the Shi'i ahadith are preserved. We have cases recorded in history where some of the companions of our Imams alayhimus salam would come to him, would come to the Imam. There was a case with Imam al-Hadi alayhis salam. A man presented him with a book. He told him, this book was given to me by Yunus ibn Abd al-Rahman. Yunus ibn Abd al-Rahman, a companion of Imam al-Rida alayhis salam, whom Imam al-Rida says, Yunus is like the Salman of this time. He's the Salman of today. Yunus ibn Abd al-Rahman, a great alim. Yunus wrote a book, a hadith. When he was about to die, he passed it on to someone else. That someone else took it to Imam al-Hadi and showed him the book. He said, Ya ibn Rasulullah, read this book. What's your opinion about it? Imam al-Hadi went through it. He said, everything in here is good. Yani the companions of Ahlul Bayt used to really re-authenticate these ahadith and used to work hard upon them. So it's really unfair to criticize and say, the authenticity is not really authentic. How do we know? Blah, blah, blah. These companions worked hard. Our Imams worked very hard. So the A is about academic scholars who can discuss and debate. And in this day and age, we have the Maraja' al-Taqleed, brothers and sisters. Again, we hear these every now and then, people criticizing the system of marja'iyya, this, whatever, and so on and so forth. The system of marja'iyya is established in the Quran. Ayah 122 of Surah At-Tawbah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا كَانَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ لِيَنْفِرُوا كَافَّةً. Not all the mu'mineen can go out together. فلولا نفر من كل فرقة منهم طائفة ليتفقهوا في الدين. From every community, you have a few individuals who would learn religion. يتفقهوا في الدين. That's where the term faqih comes from. ليتفقهوا means they understand religion. يعني a group of people, let them understand religion, and then they come and they teach their people. So the essence, the root of marja'iyya is found in the Quran. Then our Imams alayhimus salam, they used to have scholars whom they used to send into Kufa, into Yemen, into other parts of the world for people to ask them questions. And then when it came towards the end, Imam al-Hadi, Imam al-Askari, Imam al-Mahdi ajjalallah ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif, they started telling us to follow the fuqaha, the ulama. They started giving criteria. And hence, in the Ghaybatul Kubra, when it happened in the year 329 after Hijrah, we have the Maraji', what we call today Maraji'. Back then they used to call them fuqaha, the faqih. The faqih would come. Among the early fuqaha is a Sheikh al-Mufid, qaddasallah nafsahu al-Zakiyya, who died in the year 413 after Hijrah. He was one of the first, like over 1,000 years ago, one of the earliest fuqaha. When he died, his student, Al-Sharif al-Murtada took over. He became the faqih of the day. Sharif al-Murtada, the brother of Sharif al-Radi, the one who compiled Nahj al-Balagha, his brother. And he died in the year 436 after Hijrah. When he died, his student, Sheikh al-Tusi, became the faqih. And he established the Hawza in Najaf. It was him. He died in the year 456 after Hijrah. So you see, the system is being going. It's being established by Ahlul Bayti alayhim wassalam. Until this day and age, walhamdulillah. So this is a very important system. One should not undermine the system. It's established, its roots in the Quran, established by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alih, and carried by Ahlul Bayti alayhim wassalam until the time of Ghaybatul Kubra, when it was then put into effect. So that is the A. We come to the R. R is what I call recreation. What is recreation here? We all need to have some fun. And Ahlul Bayt know that. So Ahlul Bayt sometimes used to ask people, do you meet? Do you enjoy? Do you have some time together? They say, yes, we meet. So what do you talk about? So we talk about different things. He asked them, the Imam asked, do you talk about us Ahlul Bayt? He said, yes. He says, then perform, hold these gatherings. فَإِنِّي أُحِبُّ تِلْكَ الْمَجَالِسِ. I like such gatherings. Yani get together, enjoy yourselves, as long as it's not haram. As a Shi'i community today, brothers and sisters, we are facing some challenges. Here, if I may have your attention for a little bit. From ages 0 to age 15, for example, we don't have a lot of content for our children. Those of you who have children in this age group, 0 to 15, what cartoons do your children watch? Tom and Jerry? In this day and age, Tom and Jerry? Wallah zain, هذا Tom and Jerry بهالزمان. On this day and age, Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry is old school. And that's good if they watch Tom and Jerry. But then even Tom and Jerry now has become an issue. You see people, siblings fighting amongst each other now. Yeah. What kind of cartoons are being watched by our children? So, I don't want to mention names here, but there are some cartoons that are completely inappropriate. They use language that is inappropriate. Or sometimes content that is inappropriate. Sometimes something even as simple, for example, a parent is talking to a child in the cartoon and the child responds, "Oh, Dad!" Is this our Islamic akhlaq? Would you be happy if your son tells you, "Oh, Dad"? No, you wouldn't be happy. You ask him, "Why are you talking like?" He said, "I learned it from the cartoon." So something that may appear, for example, simple, something that may appear innocent, but it's not our akhlaq. In the Shi'i world today, unfortunately, we are lacking. Alhamdulillah, more is being produced nowadays. But we need a lot more production in terms of cartoons and programs that would cater to this age group, 0 to 15. For example, 15 onwards, we don't have that many novels. Those of you who have children in the teenage years who like to read novels, although these days, mashallah, not many people read. But at least the very few people these days have shorts. They like shorts. Even our lectures have become boring. They say, "Sheikh, speak for an hour. You know, it's 2 minutes. Anything more than 2 minutes, khalas. I lose at my span." So we have to work really hard to maintain your attention for an hour-long lecture. See me all sweating, all here, you know. It's a lot of work, brothers and sisters. Just to maintain your attention for a little while here. It's not easy. We're competing against shorts and TikTok. So we're trying our best, though. We're trying. Nonetheless, those of you who have children who can read, we don't have that many novels that have good themes for the teenage years. If you go to the library or go to a bookstore and look at the teenage novels, you take a look at them. As a parent, most of you would not buy these novels. You say, I'm not going to buy these novels for my children. This is not appropriate. This is not good content. We are lacking. So we need to introduce this content. We need to fill these gaps. So that's 2. 3, games. I see people smiling. Now I got your attention. I thought I'll save this one to the end because then I can really grab your attention with games. What kind of games do you guys play? Fortnite? May Allah bless you. Okay. Good, mashallah. So I'm getting a lot of calls here for games. How much time do our children spend on these games? 1 hour every day? 1 hour a day, that's 7 hours a week. MashaAllah. You can see now. Interestingly, some of these games have certain dances. Certain dances. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. They're shaking their heads. Certain dances. Sometimes, believe me, I'm a principal of a school. One day I was walking in the hallway. I see one of our maybe 10-year-olds. He's doing a dance in the hallway. I look at him. This is a Shia school. I tell him, brother, what are you doing? He's like, what? He doesn't even realize it. He doesn't even realize what he's doing. Yani he's so used to playing this game and doing these dances that, subhanallah, it's been part of him now. Nature. I told him, brother, you were dancing. He's like, was I? No, I wasn't. I told him, so I asked him, I said, do you play games? He said, yes. I told him, which one? And he mentioned this particular game. I told him, that's the reason. Did you not learn this from that game? So they have certain dances. Our children are performing these dances subconsciously. Yani they don't even realize it. In the majlis, he finds, so all of a sudden he does it, for example. He's walking in the hallway, he does it. I see sometimes kids on the street, literally, on the street. I'm walking on the street and I see kids performing these dances. I don't think they even realize it because they've been playing it so much. We all are also lacking. We need to introduce some really good games. Educational games, good games, adventure games. You know, like, just as a suggestion, I thought it'll be cool to have a game where you have some of the companions of Imam Hussain alayhi salam on the day of Ashura. So they fight the enemies. They either kill the enemies or they get killed. I mean, that's a pretty cool game. You know, you get some action here, but at least you have the companions. And then you get bonus points if you pray salat, for example. That's when you get bonus points. When you do Allahu Akbar, as opposed to doing other things. I told you guys in the past. And sometimes these children of ours, may Allah bless them, they play these games with headphones on. You guys know what I'm talking about? And who are they playing with? My friend. Who's your friend? Virtual friend or real friend? So sometimes virtual people, you don't even know who they are. They're playing with complete strangers. Complete strangers. And they're playing these shooting games and whatever games. And you think about it, brothers, when they lose, when one of their characters gets shot, for example, what do they say? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Or la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-ali al-azim. You can see what kind of language that they'll be used in those things. And our children are listening to this language, unfortunately. Then one day they come and they say it to you. Say, where did you learn this from? They've been listening to it for the past whole year. So my brothers and sisters, we also need this recreation. We need to establish games. I'm saying this because inshallah in this majlis there are people, and those who are listening, we might have people who are in IT, in computer programming, in gaming, for example. They might hear and they start developing such apps and games and things. We might have some poets and writers who might start writing novels and short stories to fill this gap. We might have individuals here who are in the video production. They can start producing children content, and so they fill slowly this gap. But we need to start working today so that 50 years from now, we're not sitting back and saying, what are we gonna do now? You see what I'm saying, brothers? So that is something important. Now, where are we at? MashaAllah, good, you guys are good. We need to work on the teens. The teens. The T is for the teens. In the riwayat of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam asks one of his companions, Abu Ja'far al-Ahwal. He went to Basra and then he came to visit the Imam. Imam said, how did you find the people in Basra? He said, Ya ibn Rasulillah, most of them unfortunately don't follow us. And no matter how much we talk to them about Ahlul Bayt, we try to speak to them, they don't listen. Imam Salamullah alayhi told him, Alayka bil ahdath. Look after the youth. Target the youth. Because their hearts are still more fertile. And hence they would listen to you. which means the imams took care of the youth. To maintain the Shia identity, we have to look after our youth. And that's why I go back to the recreation. So establishing program. I was just in Manchester, and they have established, for example, a football league for the Shia community. They have like 12 teams. MashaAllah, that's great. So they play, they have fun, etc., etc. It's a recreational activity, but at least within the Shia community, they're looking for the youth. At the time of Salat, they go to pray together. Another thing, brothers and sisters, for the youth, which is very important, if we can do this, making ziyarah trip to the youth, for the youth. I know a lot of you go for ziyarah, alhamdulillah, this is fantastic. The ziyarah's impact on the youth is great. I remember a few years ago, I went for a ziyarah trip. With us in the group was a young man. He was 15 years of age. He went to Karbala, and then one day he came and told me. He said, Sheikh, I will be honest with you. I told him, how did you feel there in the haram of Imam Hussain alayhi salam? It was his first time. He was 15 years old. He said, Sheikh, I'll be honest with you. I did not pray before. I did not pray. I used to pray on and off. But when I went to the haram of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, and I sat there, and when I said, Assalamu alayka ya Abu Abdullah, Assalamu alayka ya ibn Rasulillah, until you come to the point where you say, Ashhadu annaka qad aqamtal salat. I bear witness that you established salat. He said, I looked at this and I like, Imam al-Hussein got killed for the sake of salat. And here I am visiting him and I don't pray. He said, I started crying and I said to myself, from this day onwards, inshallah, I will continue to pray. Last year, this incident happened about 6 years ago. Last year, I met some of his family members. I asked about him. I told him, how is so-and-so? They told me, alhamdulillah, since that trip, he's good. He's maintaining his salah. That inspiration that we get in the ziyarah, that connection we get to the imam. Because when we, the Shia, visit the imam, we know he can hear us. He listens to us. He's there answering us. When we read the ziyarah, we say, Ashhadu anni bikum mu'minun. I bear witness, I have iman in you. We're strengthening our aqeedah. Aqeedah there. And then when we read salat, aqamta salat, atayta zakat, amarta bil ma'ruf, nahayta anil munkar. These are all things that I should be upholding. So ziyarah is very important. If you can take a group of youth for ziyarah, do so. This is one of the ways we can look after our youth. Hold youth programs like these, mashallah. It's great to see this. And we see this young men and young people, mashallah, participating in these programs. Youth groups with youth people participating. These are some of the ways we can uphold the Shia identity, my dear brothers and sisters. So few items. This is what I call the SMART approach. S for schools. M for what? Majalis. So keep with the majalis. 3, the academics, the scholars, the ulama, what we call today maraja' al-taqleed, holding on to them. And then the R is recreation. We need to establish some recreation, like gaming, some programs, some novels, etc., cartoons, so that we can fill these voids with theme, with purposeful themes. And the T is to look after our teens. And of course, when we say all this, brothers and sisters, I'm not factoring out the important role of the parents. Parents, of course, have the important role in here, in establishing all this. So parents play a very important role. What you do at home, what values you teach your children, so all there is there, definitely. So we're not undermining the family here and the significance of the family. And this is what we find with Sayyida Ummul Baneen, salamullahi alayha. This great lady. You know, this lady, subhanallah, she was alima. When she comes and she talks to Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, she recognizes their status. They have a great status. And she knows this. As we heard from this young man, may Allah bless him, she used to tell her sons, call Ahlul Bayt, Al-Hasan wal-Hussein, my masters. Don't call them by their names. Serve them just like I am serving them. She had that aqeedah, she had that iman. For a lady, for a woman who has 4 sons, those of you who have children, you know there is an attachment to your children. But not to care even about them and care about her imam tells you her aqeedah, tells you her ilm, tells you her status. This lady was alima, fahima. She understands. Her aqeedah was so strong. Unfortunately, history had not been fair to her. We don't know much about her, did not report much about her. But this that we know about her demonstrates to us her nobility, her loyalty, her greatness, her understanding, her faithfulness. So this is the lady Ummul Baneen alayha salam. When the family came back, and Zainab alayha salam went to the house. The house was vacant. She left with Imam Hussain alayhi salam, Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam, Ali al-Akbar, Qasim, Ali al-Asghar, Abdullah al-Rabi', her siblings from Al-Abbas alayhi salam, some of her cousins. Now she's back and they are all gone. Everyone is gone. I'm not sure if any of you one day gave a ride to someone who you love dearly, and he was there or she was there at your house for some time, and you gave them a ride to the airport because they were traveling for 1, 2, 3 months. When you come back home after giving them the ride to the airport and you look at their room, you know that feeling where you're like, I miss them. This individual, he or she used to sit on this chair, for example, and read the Quran. He or she, for example, used to pray in this corner. So you start feeling this sense of missing these individuals. This was the feeling of Zainab salamullahi alayha. But these were not people who were dropped off at the airport and they may come back one day. These are people who are gone. She knows that they're not coming back. So she stayed in the state of aza, grief, pain, conducting majalis in the dhikr of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, crying and weeping for Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And upon arrival, Sayyida Ummul Baneen alayha salam rushed to the house. She wanted to see Zainab salamullahi alayha. She just heard the news from Bishr ibn Hadlam that her sons were killed. And her beloved Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam was also killed. So she rushes to Zainab alayhi salam. And she learns that Zainab was taken as a prisoner for Bani Umayyah. This is the Zainab who, when she used to leave the house, Ummul Baneen would see Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam extinguishing the fire and the light and the lantern so that no one can see her height or see her shadow even. Now this Zainab became a prisoner for Bani Umayyah, going from one city to another city. As she cries, she is beaten by the whips of Bani Umayyah. أنا بقيت محيرة واصفج بليدي
لا عباس يبرالي ولا حسين يزجروني من ابكي وتدمع العين وتبقى حسرتي بصدر التكسر. زينب أم البنين asks her, يا مولاتي يا بنت رسول الله, how could you have become a prisoner for Bani Umayyah? Where was my son Abbas? Were there any shortcomings on his end? Because I instructed him to take care of you, Ya Zainab. How could you have become a prisoner? She looked at her and said, Ya Ummul Baneen, he went to the river of Furat. He dipped his hand in the water. He did not even drink the water because of remembering his brother and Imam Abi Abdullah al-Hussain. أنا أشرب لذيذ الماء حاش والحسين ولاد عطاش. And he said, I will never drink the water. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, the heart of my uncle al-Abbas was burning like charcoal from the thirst, yet he did not drink the water out of loyalty and love to his Imam and master and brother Abi Abdullah al-Hussain. He filled the bag of water, Ya Ummul Baneen, headed back to the tent. The plan was that he goes, gets the water and comes back. Yet one of the enemies struck him on his right hand, cutting it off. He took the sword in the left, the bag was on his chest along with the banner of Abi Abdullah al-Hussain, as if he did not even feel the pain of losing his right hand. And he said, Wallahi in qata'tumu yamini inni uhami abadan an dini وعن إمام صادق اليقين سبط النبي الطاهر الأمين. Even if you cut off my right hand, I will continue defending my Imam, the Prophet's grandson. He continued, Ya Ummul Baneen, until another enemy of Allah cut off his left hand. Upon losing his left hand, he took the banner to his chest. Let's keep the banner of Hussein up. My hands do not matter. The bag of water and the alam of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. He rushed to the camp wanting to get the water to the children of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, calling, Ya nafsu la takhshay min al-kuffari وأبشري برحمة الجبار قد قطعوا ببغيهم يساري فاصلهم يا رب حر النار. They cut off my left hand, oh Allah, punish them into the hellfire. Yet he's still not feeling the pain. He wants to get the water to the camp. He feels the pain when the arrow pierces the water bag, Ya Ummul Baneen. That's when he stops. Another arrow is shot at his eye. He is struck with an iron pillar on the head. As he falls, he cries, Akhi Hussain, adrikni. Imam al Hussain rushed to him, Ya Ummul Baneen. When he saw him, the hand is on one side, the other hand is on the other side, an arrow in the eye. He cried, أخي الآن انكسر ظهري يا شيعة وقلت حيلتي وشمت بي عدوي رحم الله المنادي أيوة عباس all together أيوة again أيوة يا ابو فاضل علي الاكبر تركته ومن حرق يجري عزيز وراح من ايدي وعليه تمالكت صبري لكن فقدك يا ابو الغير اش عمل بحوالي ما تدري هدم بنيان امالي وحق جدي وكسر ظهري يا أم البنين. Do not blame Abbas. He was supposed to go to the water and come back. That's why he never bid his farewell to me. Whenever one of the companions of Imam al-Hussain or the family wanted to go to the battlefield, they would say their goodbyes. They would say, we have to go, we have to leave. So they bid the farewell. But Abu al-Fadl did not bid the farewell because he was supposed to go and come back. That's why on the eve of the 11th of Muharram, when Zainab calmed everyone down, when everybody got settled, they asked her, where are you going, Ya Zainab? She got up and said, أنا رايح العباس أجعد. I'm going to see my brother Abbas, bid my farewell to him. He did not say his goodbyes. I will say it because tomorrow we'll be leaving. أنا رايح العباس أجعد وركب جفوفه فوق زنده وقل له يا اخويا الحرم طاحت بشده. Then Ummul Baneen alayha salam looked around. This shock of the loss of Abi Abdullah al-Hussain is there, her son. She looks around, she says, Zainab, all right, where is the baby Abdullah? Where is Ali al-Asghar? She said, Ya al-Baneen, I gave him to his father to fetch him some water. As Imam al-Hussain was carrying him on his arms, they shot him with an arrow that pierced his neck from one side to the other side. شحال اللي ينذبح بحضنه ولياده تلقى حسين دم الطفل بيده. He was killed in Karbala, Ya al-Baneen. All right, Ya Zainab. Where is Ruqayya, al-Baneen? Zainab, I don't see Ruqayya. What happened to her? I buried her in Shia. This little girl woke up in the middle of the night crying, where is my father, Abi Abdullah al-Hussain? When Yazid heard the news, he sent her the head of her father on a plate. As the girl saw the head of her father, Ya Ummul Baneen, she cried, Aywa Atar! أيوة حسينا أبا من الذي حز وريدك أبا من الذي خضب شيبتك أبا من للنساء والأيتام بادر. Oh Father, who beheaded you? Why is your beard covered in blood? Oh Father, who will take care of us after you. Ah, she cried and cried until she went into a deep silence. Ya Ummul Baneen, she died on the head of Abi Abdullah al-Hussain. Ah, Ya Zainab, one more question I have to ask you. Here's where the poets draw some beautiful imagery. Zainab, did you see Fatima? Where was Fatima to Zahra, Ya Zainab? Zainab, did she come to Karbala, Ya Zainab? Zainab, did she see her son Hussein on the plains of Karbala slain? What does she say in response? She came holding her broken rib in pain. She came putting her rib on Hussein. She came to Karbala holding her rib in pain. She came putting her rib on Hussein. She came looking for his cut off finger. She came searching for Abbas, his brother. مو بعيدة يما أنا مو بعيدة يما أنا 3 أيام ساكن البيد. أنا 3 أيام ساكن البيد. سيدتي شو تسوين 3 أيام؟ نوب أقوم أدور خنصر إيده ونوب أقوم أدور كف عضيده. يا زينب مصيبتكم علي شديد. يا أم البنين, when I saw her, I remembered her broken rib and the door. Vay mano, vay mano, vay man, mi khadaro sine Zahra ya man. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un wa sayalamu alladhina zalamu ayya munqalabin yanqalibun wal 'aqibatu lil muttaqin. Raise your hands in the dua. Brothers and sisters, we've just done dhikr of Ummul Baneen alayha salam, Zainab al-Kubra salamullahi alayha, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas salamullahi alayhi, Abdullah al-Radi, Ruqayya al-Mazluma, and Fatima salamullahi alayha. All of them are the gates of Hajat, Abwab al-Hawa'ij. Inshallah, the gates of Hajat and Du'as are open now for us, inshallah. نستميح السادة الأفاضل والشيوخ والعلماء الكرام بالدعاء إن شاء الله. Everyone together, we say our biggest haja, Ya Fatimatu Zahra, is you make us and our children until the day of judgment among the sincere Shia of Ahlul Bayt, Ya Allah. And among your sincere servants, Ya Mawlati. And may Allah grant us your shafa'ah in dunya, in the qabr and in the akhirah. And we want to be with you on the day of judgment at the time of resurrection, and with you among your ranks in Jannah, insha'Allah. Everyone together. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amman yujibul mudtarra idha da'ah wa yakshifu as-su'. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. Together. أمن يجيب اللهم إنا نسألك وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم. 10 times together. يا الله 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 يا الله. إلهي بفاطمة وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها اكشف عنا السوء يا الله. اللهم اغفر ذنوبنا، كفر عنا سيئاتنا، وتوفنا مع الأبرار مع محمد وآله الأطهار يا الله. اللهم اقض حوائج المؤمنين والمؤمنات، شاف وعاف جميع مرضى المؤمنين والمؤمنات، على الخصوص من أوصونا بالدعاء منهم. اقض حوائجهم، شاف مرضاهم، يسر أمورهم، احفظهم في أنفسهم وفي أهليهم وفي أوطانهم وديارهم بحفظك ورحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. اجزهما بالإحسان إحسانا وبالسيئات غفرانا. رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج، واجعلنا من شيعته وأنصاره وأعوانه والمستشهدين بين يديه. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين، لقضاء الحوائج ولشفاء المرضى ولكشف هذه الغمة عن هذه الأمة ولتعجيل فرج مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان. وإلى أرواح أمواتنا وأمواتكم وأموات الجالسين والحاضرين والباذلين والمؤسسين والمشاركين والمشاهدين، وإلى أرواح الشهداء والعلماء. رحم الله من يقرأ السورة المباركة الفاتحة مع الصلوات.